Hey, do you remember our conversation about Nadia?
Yes, I remember our conversation about Nadia, the AI content creator. How can I assist you further with it?
Could you actually introduce her to the audience, to my viewers?
Hey everyone! Today I'm excited to introduce you to Nadia, an incredible AI content creator. Nadia started her journey as a software developer and transitioned into the world of AI and content creation. She's known for her insightful LinkedIn posts that break down complex AI topics. Her journey showcases the power of embracing new technologies and the importance of continuous learning. Get ready to be inspired by Nadia's innovative approach and insights.
And that is who we're talking to today. With all the news about AI, I simply wanted to understand it a little bit better and see how creators can actually use it. In this conversation, we talk about how to write better prompts, how usable it is for content creators, and if you will ever be replaced by it. At the very end, I also share some of the resources that help me become more consistent. But now, join me in this conversation. A lot of YouTubers use it to generate titles and thumbnail ideas, if not fully done thumbnails. But it always feels like you have to start from scratch. It's always like, this is my channel, this is my audience, going through the whole spiel. And it's still kind of giving you very generic outputs. Are there ways to make it really custom to your creativity?
It is possible. You can give it, if you use ChatGPT, then even in your settings, you have two fields where you can give it more information about yourself, what you do. And for example, I put there that I'm learning German. And now almost every conversation which I get, sometimes I get response in German because it thinks that I still learn German, which is funny and not always what I aim for. But that is the way how you can give it more information. Yeah. And obviously it preserves the whole conversation history. Or at least a lot of your past messages. So if you start a conversation and you explain that you are a content creator in this particular space and you are doing this and that, then you can just continue the same conversation and ask it for more. And obviously there is a way, because I'm a developer, to create an app around that. So you would always use the same information about your channel. You can try to train that AI on your specific voice and style. We try to train a model on poetry of a person, and then we could generate poetry in the same style, which is kind of violation of some rules. But
that's a whole nother conversation about, is it still art if no human is involved? But that's, I think, a topic for a different conversation. So when talking to ChatGPT or other tools, Gemini, Claude, whatever, is it better to have shorter prompts but more, or longer prompts that are more complicated?
I guess that you always still have some guidelines, even for yourself. And you always keep them in mind. And ChatGPT or other model, they don't know about your guidelines. So it's always a good idea to give some rules for a model on how to behave.
Sometimes you come across these like
mega prompts.
Yes.
They don't make much sense, actually.
Okay.
I started learning prompt engineering for development purposes.
Okay.
And I learned from actual scientific papers, not from people on the internet. And people on the internet just want to sell their prompts. And actually what you need to know is some basics, like you need to set tone of voice, and some context is also important. That's what I mentioned about your target audience. So if you are writing or creating for a specific audience, then it's always a good idea to mention it. What else? Give it a role. I believe most of the people already know about it. So you can tell it to behave as a content creator, as a famous content creator, or as some specific person. It knows a lot about people.
Do you always start with a new chat, or do you have like one long conversation going for your posts?
Personally, I start with a new chat. I have so many ideas, so it's not a problem for me to come up with the idea and to modify it. I start with a new chat. I give my draft to a language model, and then ask it to improve it. So I already have a feeling of how well this will be. And sometimes it doesn't need a lot of editing. Sometimes it needs a lot of editing. And I ask a language model to be my brainstorming partner.
And same, yeah, with the images, is there a way to... One of the biggest challenges with images is that it's very random, the output, right? It's never going to be on brand because it doesn't really know your brand. Is there ways with the images to make it more yours?
If you have your idol, let's say, who you try to copy, then you can use their style as a reference and mention it in your prompt. Or you can actually do the same with text. So you can give a piece of text as a reference text and ask your AI to use this as an example. It's always a good idea to give some examples to your model. With the images, it's the same. You can give an image as a reference.
At the moment, it feels very much like gambling. Like you type in your prompt and you get something. Sometimes it's exactly what you're imagining, and sometimes it's like, no.
But it's good for experimentation.
It lets you test ideas really, really fast. That's true.
And you still can try to configure it with your prompt. So you can say, if we are talking about images, which angle this image is taken from, what is the mood in the image, what are the colors. I just get that regular person would not think about it this way. So you need to think from the perspective of a photographer. And it's always also a good idea to even describe what type of lens would give this result. So I saw some prompts where you put the type of lens.
Those are all still things that you need to know, right? The art styles, the lens.
A regular person with no domain knowledge would not be able to create something in the same way a person with 10 years of experience would do. So if you have 10 years of experience in one field, then AI will not make a person without that experience magically a professional like you.
Yeah, so I might be able to create an AI-generated photograph of somebody with my knowledge of cameras and lenses and all those things, but I'm probably not going to program an iPhone app or something like that.
I would say that using AI in your domain, in your industry, would be the best way to use AI. Don't try to create something which you have no idea how to build.
So you still want to learn the basics, the fundamentals, understand what you're actually dealing with before trying to make a virtual assistant.
Yeah. I mean, let's say you want to use AI for marketing. If you have no understanding of human psychology, then you wouldn't be successful. You will ask it to create a campaign for your product. Then how do you understand if it created something good or not? What are the criteria? How would you
Well, it doesn't matter because I can put out so much that I can test it rapidly and I'll just see what is good.
And then you don't know what is the problem if it doesn't work. If it is because of your product, if it is because of the campaign, is it because of something else?
And then I'll let AI analyze itself and tell me what's wrong with it.
It doesn't work this way. I've been trying to ask it to build a business for me. No way.
So actually yesterday I asked on my socials to, I don't know, what are my audience's question about AI. One question that I found kind of interesting was like, why is everybody trying to replace creative work instead of like menial admin tasks? Because that's what's in the news, right? What's your perspective on that?
For creators, it's not like that. It's marketers who are trying to replace creative work.
Okay.
That is my perception. That is what I also mentioned at the beginning, that marketers are trying to also become content creators and push their products. And if they found that content which performs well, scale it with AI is much easier than create something new.
If you think of this content creator, creative person who is very aware that AI exists, because I think we all are, but it's just like not using it for whatever reason, what would you tell them?
Start learning about AI because it can help to save some time, obviously. It can also help it can be a brainstorming partner. So if you are stuck at some point, you can use it to get some feedback or to help you with idea generation or with your research. Obviously, most of the content creators do some research before they create a video. So it can be helpful to research your audience preferences as well.
So maybe it's best to start following you on LinkedIn. What's the best way to connect with you to stay in your orbit?
Yeah, I mostly create on LinkedIn. And I'm always happy to help other people to learn.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
I feel like I could ask you more silly questions about AI, but in the end, play around with it, experiment. After this conversation, I actually started to collect all the tools and prompts that I used in making the last few episodes, which helped me create much more consistently. And you can get all of that in the link below. Let me know if that's useful to you, and I see you in the next one.